Hello, Aries. And finally, I've had a rough spell with this Mercury retrograde, having to make an emergency flight for family reasons, and then dealing with all the tech and internet issues, and with setting all that up in another state and home. Um, but here we go. And so too is your September horoscope summary theme. But before that, thank you for revisiting if you're a return visitor, and welcome to new viewers. And as I promised in August's videos, I got the nerve to record my own voice and I ditched the AI voice so it can be a little bit more personable. Okay, let's get straight into this. In this video, I will give you your main theme of September. Then I will summarize some of September's major planetary dynamics and how that may affect you. I'll do a quick revisit of a couple of astrological events in the past since we have retrograde planets and repeating aspects. And finally, or two things to look forward to in the new year. Okay, first and in general, September has a theme of hurry up and wait, just like August's laid back approach, mainly because of the six retrograde planets I mentioned, and I'll also include the seventh minor body of Chiron, but I'll touch on these later. Aries, your health, well being, habits, routine, work, the gym, yoga, your rituals, doctor, trusted nurse, and small animals, and how your mind and soul creates the method out of chaos about these things. I will stress again your mind and well being is front and center as Virgo is your natal sixth house, and not only well and why I'm saying Virgo is because the sun is in Virgo and so is Mercury. Mercury is currently retrograde, so that's why the focus on these things. So going back to Virgo, she is not only devoted to the philosophy of service to others, service being the operative word here. She's also meticulous about health, whereas your ability to work, keep up with your routine, and get things organized and completed very much depends on not only your psychological comfort, but also your physical welfare. You can't function with only one of these areas operating well. They have to both be healthy because they work together. Well, these, like I mentioned, are all in focus this month. Nothing new for you as you deal with these things every year around this time. What has been annoying for you is the communication and or actions regarding these things has gone backward and forward. And yes, it will do another take before the end of this month. This is due to Mercury in Virgo, like I mentioned before, being retrograde. So, you switching from yoga to Zumba rather, will probably end up in jazzercise. Or you may have a feeling you need to get a third health advisor's opinion and extend that to the pet you've recently taken to the vet. One on one therapy or will it be group therapy? Well, it may end up as an intervention. Monday through Friday routine, or is it going to be a 4 day work week? Or is it work weekends and time off during the week? All this may end up in ditching full time and going part time. Who knows? Even though Mercury will go direct this month, it will be in shadow and won't clear its shadow until the end of the month. So, all the plans A and B, some of the examples I mentioned above, there's still a possibility of you having to formulate a plan C. That's why I gave you like third options in those examples. Third time is a charm. Or it could end up being a combo of either or. Well, I won't. beat a dead horse here, but suffice for me to stress, yes, once again, Virgo wants you to focus mainly on your psychological and physical health. Remember, Virgo focuses on one, or in this case, two specific aspects of the picture. So the two aspects is your mind and your health. If you have any Virgo degrees, then children, romance, joyful activities, academia, pets, and or money have had a correlation with behind the scenes activities or the past, or maybe someone from the past. And double that if you have Pisces in your chart too. These discussions started at the end of July and continued in August, and it's still ongoing. I will explain this a little bit later as well. There is a beautiful new Virgo moon on the 14th, which again is your sixth house. Set your intentions and plant the seeds of a specific thing. And as I suggested, maybe focus on your mind and body. This year and this new moon will be life changing in some way. And if you're old enough, it will feel just like the one you may have had like 18 or 19 years ago. And for all who would like to lose weight, this new moon will really set your determination and discipline for a long time to come. So focus. All right, so look for an opportunity that may present itself on or about the new Virgo moon or plant the seeds yourselves. I will mention Pluto being in Capricorn. That is your 10th house of career, status, and authority figures. Power and control. The government and authority is somehow involved or is involved. Think back to December of last year through to March, April of this year. There were conversations, negotiations, maybe arguments, disagreements, or maybe even agreements about control and power regarding your status and or your career. People moved up, away, or disappeared, and the reshufflement elevated your position in this area. It was a surprising and or jarring event that led up to this, and even though you've had the last 14, 15 years of surprising power plays regarding your 10th house, this event was a different kind of unexpected. In any case, this dynamic is reverberating again this month because those consequences in March, April are in play now. I'll explain a little more when I go through your September lineup. Okay, let us discuss the retrograde planets before getting into your September cosmological lineup. And just one note before we do, and this note is about retrograde planets. When the planet is stationed to turn retrograde or go forward, is the time you guys need to take notice, because that conversation or action or piece of information that happens then is the most powerful and reverberates through time. So pay attention to the day on or about when planet stations. Okay. All right. So let's get into the retrograde planets. Let me just go to my notes. Okay, retrograde planets. We have Saturn, the master teacher, is in Pisces. Pisces, for you, Aries, is your 12th house of the past, secrets, your psyche, confining institutions such as hospitals or prisons, self undoing, and hidden enemies, and also your hidden self. So, hidden self. Oh, my fingers weren't in the right place. And enemies. And then we have Neptune, um, the master in illusions, is in his home sign of Pisces. He's very powerful when he's in Pisces. And of course, it's the same house for you. Um, we've had Neptune in Pisces since 2012, Valentine's Day. So you're used to this energy, um, and it's mostly it's a feel good place. You've had like escapes um, to the 12th house. Maybe you daydream about the past, or when you're by yourself or hidden, you feel better for some reason. In any case, Neptune is, like I said, the master of illusions, um, rules the ocean, fogs, the oil industry, alcohol, cosmetics, marine mammals, and all that. And then Pisces is, of course, the two fishes that swim opposite each other. So, yeah, they're perfect for each other. So, Saturn here, though, in Pisces, is going to pull you back to reality. Because when you get involved too deep into this house, into the 12th house, with Neptune and Pisces being really strong here, you you go away from reality. Sometimes so far away that you can't find your way back home to reality. So the universe in all its wisdom has um, tasked Saturn to structure this house for you, to ring alarm bells and what have you. And the last about was it? No, it started in March. So we'll talk about that a little in the future with other videos. But just suffice to say, these two planets are in retrograde motion in your 12th house. Now, Pluto is also in Capricorn retrograde, and Capricorn is your 10th house of status, career, and Authority figures, sorry. It also covers charitable work, or organizations. Uranus is in Taurus. Taurus is your second house of job, income, and values, what you will and will not sell out for. The second house can also um, indicate marriage as well, but that's for another story. Mercury in Virgo is your sixth house of health and habits and routine, and that's retrograde. And then finally, the minor body of Chiron is in your house, in your first house, is in its Aries, so it's your first house of self, physical appearance, personality, and your CV. Okay, so these planets have gone retrograde for us to catch our breath and to review all the dynamics and going ons and the information we've received since they entered these houses, and they're retrograding so that when we do review and want to make tweaks and changes, when they station to go direct, we can apply those changes. And remember what I said about the stationing part. Pay attention to that day, on or about that day, because important things happen then about that particular house. Okay, so finally, let's go to the September lineup. On September 3rd, which passed, um, Venus turned direct in Leo. And Leo is your fifth house of romance, children, creativity, pets, and gambling. Now, you may have had, I discussed in the monologue that you may have had issues, um, or secrets about this house, or somebody maybe from the past coming in. But whatever the questions were, or if there were any issues or disagreements, since Venus is turning direct now, it will start smoothing out this house, even though it's still considered a retrograde shadow, and besides, it's moving very, very slow right now. It'll pick up speed and exit its shadow towards the end of the month into October. Okay, Jupiter is retrograde in Taurus. Taurus is your second house of job, income, and your value system. So think back to April when your focus or your second house expanded. It just blew up regarding job or jobs, income, and your value system. So since April, that has been quite busy for you, and it has now stationed and it's going to be retrograding. So you'll review these past few months and see what you need to, since Jupiter expands, um, maybe you'll want to like trim what you don't need or make changes to what you do want to change and keep what you want. So when it turns direct in January, you can start implementing those changes. Also on the 4th, Mercury in Virgo, trined Jupiter in Taurus. So some information about your health or routine or habits or maybe service to others um, gave a good boost to your second house of job and income. And trines are mellow aspects, they're soft aspects. So you may not all of you may have felt it, but it was a good aspect, a good information from your sixth house to your second house of job and income. And excuse me, this is the second time it happened on the 4th. The first time was on August 9th, and then it will happen once again at the end of the month, but we'll mention that as we go in. Okay, on the 8th, so today is the 6th, so 2 more days. On the 8th, um, the sun in Virgo, your sixth house of health and routine, will trine Jupiter in Taurus, second house. So over here on the 4th, you received some sort of information. Sorry about that. Um, Regarding these, your sixth house that was favorable to your second house. On the 8th, the sun shines a spotlight on this information, or you put that information to use in your second house of job and income. So pay attention to the 8th and um, see what happens there. Okay, so minor planets or minor bodies, I usually don't mention, but when they're at 0 0, they're significant. So I like to mention those. Um, so let's go. And on the 13th of September, Pallas enters Libra. Like I said, it's 0 0. And Libra is your seventh house of marriage, partners, contracts, and open enemies. Excuse me. On the 13th, Vesta enters nurturing and family oriented Cancer. Your natal fourth house of home, parents, parenting, family, foundation, and tribe. The fourth house, the second house, maybe sometimes the seventh house. The fourth house and the second house are emotional houses. So that's at 0 0. So that happens on the 13th of September. And ta-da! The 14th of September, the new moon in Virgo, your sixth house. So right there, when on or about the new moon, or if you do see the new moon right away, uh, remember to set your intentions about a focused thing in your sixth house, or if an opportunity presents itself regarding your sixth house of health and routine, seize it. So that's at 21 Virgo. Okay, so that was on the 14th. The next day, another minor planet series, Enter Scorpio at 00. Scorpio is your eighth house of sex, death, and taxes. And that's just the title of the house, but it refers to intimacy, true intimacy. Death is allegorical here. No astrologer can predict literal death. Um, I mean, it can be the house of literal death, but no astrologer can predict it. So death here is really allegorical. It's something ending and something beginning, something like the phoenix rising from the ashes. And taxes, it could be about taxes, but the eighth house is the house where you benefit from other people's money. So a partner's income, an inheritance, gifts, lump sums of money, say, let's say, like a class action suit or something, um, and things like that. So that's the eighth house. So Ceres is the master negotiator uh, of compromises. She negotiated with Pluto, where he compromised to share her daughter half of the year with her, since he abducted her and took her to the underworld. And that's how we have the like, fall and winter and spring and summer. Okay, on the same day, Mercury in Virgo, your sixth house, will station direct at 8 degrees Virgo. Oh, I'm sorry, Mercury will be at 8 degrees Virgo of 00. And just pay attention, like I said, when a planet stations, pay attention to the information you will be getting on this day, on or about this day. Okay, and on the 17th, Venus in Leo, your fifth house of romance and children and pets, will square Jupiter in Taurus, your second house of job and income. And this will be the third time. So the first time happened on June 11th. The second time was a few weeks ago on the 22nd of August. And this will be the third and final time. Now, Venus rules your natal partnership house, marriage house, and Leo also is your natal fifth house, squaring Jupiter. And squares and oppositions are hard aspects. However, out of all the hard aspects, I actually like squares and oppositions because they do jumpstart something that's stagnant or in disagreement. Um, there's a solution either way rather, and that's why I out of all the tense factors, I like squares and oppositions. So I look forward to these. So going back to this, Venus rules your natal partnership house and Leo your fifth house. So some discussion between your partners regarding your children or romance or pets, gambling, and what have you. Squares, there's a tense situation regarding your second house of job, income, and your value system. And again, if you want to know the specific details of what it will be about, look to these two dates, June 11th and August 22nd, and it'll give you a theme. On the 19th, 2 days later, the Sun in Virgo, your sixth house of health and habits, will oppose Neptune in Pisces, your 12th house of secrets in the past. So, something about your health, your routine, your psyche, your service to others um, is in opposition to something probably from the past, or if you have secrets or your hidden self. And This is a classic example of how you can fix problem houses. Whatever you have a problem in that house, look to the opposing house and fix that, and that will be in sync. That's one way of, for example, like, uh, I had to stop that because I had a brain fart. Yeah, I was giving you an example of opposing houses. So, like, for example, your first house and it stands in opposition to your seventh house. So, if there's a problem with your seventh house of partners and marriage and contracts, look to yourself, um, your inner feeling about it. That's why they say partners hold up a mirror to how you really feel inside. So if you have a problem with the seventh house, fix yourself, and your house will straighten out, and so on and so forth. So yeah, um, that the whole point about oppositions. Um, so there's something calling your attention to your sixth house, and you need to resolve it in order for your, like I told you in the monologue, your psyche and your physical well-being um, can be in sync. Anyway, only you guys know what it's about, and it might be about secrets, might be about the past. um, Whatever it is, look to your sixth house and figure out your routine and your scheduling and your service to others so that this can straighten out. On September 21st, the Sun in Virgo will trine Pluto in Capricorn. Trines are soft aspects again. You may not feel them, but they're good aspects. So, something about your health, habits, and routine will give a boost to your status and career. So, something here that you're working out will be favorable to your 10th house of status and career and authority figures. Um, 10th house are like power brokers, bosses, and such. And Pluto is in Capricorn. So, yeah, there are like serious power brokers. But you know that all too well. You've been dealing with that for the past 14, 15 years. On the 23rd of September, the Sun enters Libra. Libra is your seventh house of partners and contracts, and it is at 0 0. So pay attention. And this happens every year. Your focus shifts to partners and contracts. Um, so your mind will be occupied with that as well, starting the 23rd. Seventh house is also the house of open enemies. Okay, on September 25th, Mercury in Virgo, your sixth house of health and routine, will trine, soft aspect, good aspect, Jupiter in Taurus, your second house of job and income. And this is what I said before. This is the third time it will happen. So, some kind of information regarding your sixth house is sending good vibes, juju vibes. Is it juju vibes? Good vibes to your second house of job and income. And the first time was August 9th. Second time was a couple of days ago on the 4th. And the third and final time will be on the 25th of September. And when there's repeating aspects like this, pay attention, because again, these two reverberate in time as well. And then the major cosmological patterns for September end with the full moon in Aries on the 29th. Your first house of self, physical appearance, your personality, your CV, your MO, who you are, what you look like, and all that good stuff. So, full moons, this full moon has some hard aspects. I'm not going to lie. But it's in your first house, so and you're fearless. There's nothing that you can't handle. But it's something about your persona, something about yourself. Um, Maybe plastic surgery. I don't know what it could be. And again, um, if you're if, well, it's for all Aries, but if there's 6 degrees in your chart in this new moon, in this full moon, it will be very impactful. um, but maybe you're changing your clothing, your
Mm,
shoes, um, or maybe you're changing something about your CV. Whatever it is, full moons are endings, or they can be culminations of past efforts, and they can also be a fruition, something coming to fruition. So take all those three endings, culmination or fruition of your efforts about yourself and physical appearance. So there you go on that. And I'm just going to touch on the two aspects in the future to look. Okay, so the two future forecasts that are exciting. Um, um, a quick look to a future transit is Jupiter turning direct in Taurus, your second house, in January 2024. And when it turns direct, um, it will trine Pluto, which will still be retrograde in Capricorn or coming to the end of its retrograde. I have to check. But Capricorn is your 10th house of career and status and authority figures. This is really good um, because your second house, something about your second house that's that has expanded since April, and you're reviewing right now and tweaking. So when it goes direct and whatever changes you're going to be making, it will it will sit in favor with your career house. Very good aspect here. So look out for that. It's important, and it's an important aspect for you because you've been working on your status and career for the past 15 years or so. So look for that. And again, even though it's a soft aspect, it's a trine, but you will feel it because these are power planets. Um, Jupiter, of course, planet of expansion, but Pluto is a powerhouse and power brokers. So a very important aspect. Your job, income, value system will, like I mentioned, start expanding once again. Um, Before Jupiter, took that sabbatical review September through December, um, and it trines your 10th house. Okay, another aspect that's happening, and I think it's setting what's happening with Jupiter and Pluto is setting up the next surprise, which will happen in May, because Jupiter in Taurus, your second house of job and income, will trine Uranus. Shocking. Electrical Uranus and Taurus, your second house. So I don't know if you're going to be shocked or really excited about what your job will be or change, or maybe you'll get a shocking surprise of a huge pay raise, because I know money can be an issue with Aries because you guys take care of so much. But a very unusual, surprising, or electrical shock regarding your job and income. All exciting, all well deserved. So I'm super excited for you as well. In any case, Aries, thank you for your patience and living through this Mercury retrograde with me. Um, and if you did find this information informative and or entertaining, please do consider hitting the like button. It really does help boost my channel, and as well consider subscribing. Thank you so much for listening, and I will talk to you in the next set of videos. Thank you. Bye.